Hello, my name is Jacob Toddson, and welcome back to the Wisdom of Odin. We're going to be talking about the wisdom of Odin today, but also the madness and the curse of Odin as well, and at least my interpretation of that. For me, there are three key components into my Odinic path and my Odinic exploration that have taught me a lot, and I base these off of what we know from the mythology. It is the wandering aspect, it is the drinking of the well, and it is the hanging from the world tree. These are very big aspects, not only the Odinic path, but also global spiritual practices, and they are things that I have kind of interpreted and taken into my own personal journey, trying to dedicate myself to this Odinic path. So let's begin with that first one. Let's begin with wandering. What are the benefits and the wisdom gaining, but also what's the curse of it? Now, wandering was an amazing thing for me, to actually sell all my worldly possessions, to be able to travel, to meet people, to learn from different ideas. This is probably the purest pursuit of wisdom that exists. And I will say, like, the amount of people I met, the different circles I sat in, not just Norse pagan, but, Wiccan circles, Celtic pagan circles, Native American, shaman, Christian, so many different things I learned from around the world, and spoke to so many different people from all different walks of life that all have little bits of information to share. We truly are like tapestries of these woven stories that we create and the others that interact with us. And so to be able to meet other people is truly incredible. And this is one of the greatest lessons, I think, from Odin, is meeting other people and wandering. But the dark side and the curse of the wandering, and we see this within Odin's story, is that you never want to come home. And I definitely feel that. Even now that I'm home, within miles of where I was born, I want to wander again. Even though I want a family, I want to settle down, I want I want structure, I want a foundation to live on, is we all can't be like Odin. Odin was highly removed from Asgard. He was not connected to his wife, to his children, to his friends, and he became distant. And ultimately, if you're a wanderer, you're going to have so many friends, but your deep connections are going to be so limited. And that's something that I started to notice, is if I wanted to find that, that love, to find the wife, to have the children, to be committed to my wife and to my future children, I was going to have to give up the wandering. And that's why here, even though wandering is amazing, it was an incredible thing, and you learn so much, you have to come home, or you face one of the first curses of Odin, and that's loneliness. Odin was a very lonely deity, and you can see that in his stories. The second curse and blessing of Odin comes from the plant medicines, the drinking of the well of knowledge. For us in our modern world, we're not necessarily giving up the literal eye to the well to drink of the waters. But to do plant medicines, the key term is medicine. They're meant to heal you. And so I think a lot of people pursue this because they're trying to heal something within themselves. I think, yes, Odin was trying to pursue knowledge, but I think in the reference to us, I think it's because we're trying to heal something that's missing, find something that's been taken from us or taken from our lineage, our roots, to try to heal from our traumas. I've been a part of many plant medicine circles, and every person there is trying to heal from something. The problem of plant medicines is very obvious. The problem of the allure of the well is that it's such a psychedelic experience that you become addicted to the medicine, and you never actually move forward into a healed version of yourself. And of course, I've encountered this. This is probably the most prevalent of the curses of Odin, and that is abusing medicines. And it's something that's really hard to get through to people. I don't quite know the secret besides talking about it. And I think a lot of people are like, no, I need to keep doing these plant medicines. This is how I have an experience. But when you have such a potent thing, such as a medicine journey, it's so hard to come back to reality because reality is so normal. And the psychedelics, yes, everything's so colorful, and there's sacred geometry everywhere. You get to talk to the gods, you get to drink of the well, and of course you don't want to come back, but you have to. And that can be really difficult. And I find the deeper people go into the well, the deeper they fall into this trap. And so, yeah, so many people don't realize it until it's already too late. And you become addicted to the psychedelics and the experience of them, and they become your religious experience. And I think this is going to go along with the third point, with hanging from the world tree, is the point of medicine, the point of drinking from the well, is to be healed. And to be healed means you're whole. It means you're at peace. And peace is kind of boring, right? Like, it's about not being so alarmist all the time. It's about not being anxious, about not being depressed. It's about not having triggers for your traumas. It's about accepting who you are, being content with yourself and the world around you. And for me, this was my experience with plant medicines, is they gave me this journey, they helped me heal, and I found the peace. And now I don't need them anymore. And that's a hard thing to give up. And I think also another thing that's hard to give up when it comes to being healed is when all you know is the suffering. To actually be full and whole and healed is a scary thing. And I encounter this as well, is when we come into the reflection of our own selves within the well, and we're like, hey, this is the real me. You're scared to actually become it because all you know is the broken, suffering self. Like we enter this phase of we would rather be broken because it's what we know, rather than actually being the best version of us and to be content. We're addicted to the drama, we're addicted to the pain, and we don't want to step into the new self because it's something different. Before we get to our final point here, I just want to say if you're enjoying the video, please make sure you like and subscribe and all that good YouTuber stuff. It really does help so very much. And if you're interested in supporting this channel even further and getting a little something in return, I do have a Patreon down below that you can sign up for. And for $10 a month or more, you can join our monthly challenge thing that's going on. Now, this isn't a course by any means. Basically, every month, I come forward with a little video giving you challenges that have helped me along the way. And so for the month of May, I'm challenging people to fast, to go outside more often, and to meditate every single day. And best yet, there's a little chat that you can join in sharing your progress or ideas. And so even things like fasting can be very complicated, and that's one of the reasons I haven't really made a full video about it. And so if you want to talk with others about your goals for yourself, spiritually and mindfully, this is a great place to do it. And you get to support a creator like me in the process. And so if that sounds interesting to you, head down below and sign up for Patreon. Otherwise, I do have a book called The Glastonbury Tourist that you can read as well, that I think is honestly just a really charming book that is about my time in Glastonbury, England, and it has a lot of my lessons that I've learned along the way as well. So obviously, hanging from the world tree is a very dramatic image, and it's one of the things I think a lot of people really like about the Odinic story, is it's just so dramatic. The idea of him being pierced by his own spear, hanging from the world tree, starving, fasting, crying out, giving himself to himself, and taking up the knowledge and wisdom of the runes. The problem with this story is it creates almost a dramatic look at achieving the great mystery, because that's what Odin's trying to do. When he's hanging from the world tree, he is achieving enlightenment. And this idea of enlightenment, of taking up the runes, it makes it seem like it's this like great big thing, like the big aha moment. And so we think the big aha moment is dramatic, and it needs to be like, whoa, like, oh, the runes, oh my gosh, like enlightenment, it's crazy. Like, the story really builds it up to be this, like, you should just have this euphoric experience. And in my personal experience, after hanging from the world tree, in the sense of fasting in Colorado on the side of a mountain for essentially 96 hours, what I learned is the actual aha moment, the taking up of the runes, the moment of enlightenment. It's not as dramatic as we realize. And once we realize that the power of meditation, of the Odinic path, that all of this of enlightenment is so much more simple. It's so much less dramatic. It's more peaceful. It's about being content with yourself. It's about being content with the world around us, no matter what's going on. It's about being content no matter what's going on with the news, with politics, with wars. It's about being and understanding our place in the universe is much smaller than we realize, that we both have a big effect, a small effect, and the world just keeps going. The universe keeps spinning. It's about being at peace with our place in the universe, no matter what else is going on the external and the internal. I rejected that for a while because I was in the same mindset of like, no, what the answer to the great mystery can't be so simple. The answer to the great mystery can't be being content. It has to be more than that. Where is my taking up of the rune moment? But as I sat there and I prayed on the side of that mountain starving, I realized that the answer really is quite simple. And what I see happening and what the curse of Odin is, and also I think is prevalent in his story, is we waste our time seeking the truth. We waste our time seeking the runes and trying to find this complicated path to enlightenment. That we waste all this time, and once we finally realize that the gift is the sun, is Balder for Odin in that sake, is love, is family, is community, and living a simple but fulfilling life and making an impact where you can. Once we realize that, it's too late. And I think Odin sees that in his story with Balder, is when Balder is born, he sees the points, he sees love, and he tries to protect it so fiercely, and he can't. And I don't think Odin actually ever achieves the enlightenment that we think. I think he achieves something, but I think Odin ultimately, in the end, was unfulfilled with his life. And that's a hard pill to swallow for those of us who venerate Odin, but I think the power of Odin's story is that he allows us to pursue this path of knowledge, of wisdom, of fasting, of sacrifice, in order to achieve the life that he didn't get to live. And that's a life of peace and fulfilling our purpose, no matter how small it is. And you may disagree with me. This is my realization. But the fun little cheeky thing I'm going to throw here at the very end of this video is, I forget who said it. I think it was just some hippie I met along the way, but it made me laugh so much. And he said that the goal of enlightenment is within the name itself. And that means to lighten up, enlightenment, to be lighter. And I think that's why we do all of this. This is why we heal. This is why we sacrifice. This is why we give. This is why we have belief. This is why we look to Odin. It's why we look to all the great teachers, is to lighten our spirits, to live a more fulfilled life. And then hopefully upon death, our spirit is light enough to ascend to whatever is next. This is the goal of enlightenment, to have a light soul. And so that's why I've made this video, because ultimately I think the path of Odin is to have a lighter soul, but there's also these lessons within his story, the curses within his own pursuit of wisdom and knowledge, that didn't allow him to have a lighter soul, that gave him a heavy existence. And so to me, the madness of Odin is wrapped within these curses of the pursuit of wisdom. And that's why I've made this video, in order to help you from my own journey, from my Odinic journey, into pursuing these things and sharing with you my lessons. And so that you could eventually, hopefully, find the wisdom of Odin and avoid these curses and avoid these heavy things. Because ultimately, I want everyone to live a more fulfilled life. Yeah, I wish you all the best in your own healing journey and your own pursuit of the wisdom of Odin. But more videos to come, so make sure you subscribe, all that good YouTuber stuff. And now I need to get down from my perch. So have a wonderful rest of your day, a beautiful week, a happy spring, and thank you so much for your support of this channel and my crazy ramblings in the middle of the woods.